Hi, and welcome back to DSI Restorations. In this video, we're going to be replacing the rocker panel on our 1979 Firebird Trans AM.
There's a subframe connector that we made. Actually, my son designed that, and we welded that together and made sure the car was straight and level, put it into the, welded it onto the frame, and it's in there permanently, and it sits high enough not to skid along the ground.
The main purpose of the subframe connectors is so that the body doesn't start twisting when we start cutting our way into the rocker panel. Stabilizer bars were added on both doors. We began cutting out the rocker panel. This part of the body had a lot of rust on it, so we had to cut it out and fabricate a new piece. During this process, we also cut out a part of the quarter panel so that we can repair that. All the rust was removed. We took a template of the piece that we cut out and we drew it onto a piece of paper, where we took that piece of paper and put it onto sheet metal. We cut out the sheet metal with a plasma cutter.
I don't know if you can see that because I can't see my screen, but here's the dry fit of the panel, angled up to here, and So I've got it all bent in, marked off. I'm gonna have to trim all this out, trim this section out, and attach this into here to match that, and weld this part in. I cut a little bit too much off of there, but I can rebuild that. Over here, I'm gonna mark, I should do that right now. This is where the quarter panel, where the rocker panel comes up to. Okay, then after this point, okay, so we've got that marked off. That's the rocker panel. And so, hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you can see that on the video. Good. So down here, somehow, I'm going to have to bend the other section down from here down to here so it makes contact along the bottom here. And then there's 3 spot welds that go in here. And I think we're going up to about, I'm not going that far, but I can't see it from here because the door's closed. There's 3 spot welds here. So this piece continues flat. I'm going to have to recontour it, probably cut this part off because I don't believe this part isn't from here on. I left the piece in there. But that gives me a place to cut it and then to move it and bend it down to this area here. So that's the next step, is make that bend here, come down so it touches the bottom of the rocker, get spot welded in. I should mark this as well. And that's going to be my starting point there, where I could cut it, or maybe a little further in. I'm going to have to check the other cars out and see what they did. And then here I've got to cut this. Fortunately, I just got a little tiny gap there that I need to fill in. This will come out and this will get recontoured. This is going to get all TIG welded in here, and then we can trim. Do we have to? Yeah, I'll trim some of this off here anyways later.
On the inside of the quarter panel, we welded on pieces of sheet metal where the original rusted out. The previous techniques of fabrication is also used for the quarter panel.
It's a little rough here, but I'm not straightening that out because I'm leaving extra material here for strength. I'm not going to bother chewing it all down. This will get done once this is cut. So this has to be welded in, so leave this area alone. But it's all ready for the rocker panel to go in. We just got to go in first before all this gets done. Piece we bent up to go up and underneath. So that'll go underneath the car that way at the front, and it'll get welded in. So just putting self-etch primer along the backside here. I'll have to scrape it off where it gets welded on. I should have taped that off. I didn't. Here I'm going to have weld through primer where it goes along the body there, the inner rocker panel.
We used self-etch primer on the metal and then sprayed it with black paint. Everywhere that is being welded, we used weld-through primer. Aftermarket panels don't come perfectly in shape. We made up a jig that would help us sharpen up the lines so that it could have its original factory look. We fabricated a piece of the quarter panel to fit. We used the shrinker stretcher tool to make up the shape. We used a contour gauge to take the shape of the quarter panel. This was necessary to do to fit up the rocker panel.
With those subframe connectors in, we were able to cut out the original rocker panel and weld it all back into place. and be perfectly straight and aligned. A lot of measuring, a lot of measuring, a lot of recording the measurements to make sure everything's fine from various points. So that's all been welded in together. See all the welds in there? It's not important, but we just spot welded it all. And have the floor all repaired. Okay, just running through that quickly. So the door does close good. And those subframe connectors made a huge difference on how the doors close. The car is nice and level and even.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing for future videos just like this one.